Good morning to you. Good morning to you. How are you all doing today? It is a wonderful sunshiny 9 a.m. here in the Southwest. And I know somebody might be watching on the East Coast and you're already at noon. But we are still here in the morning over in the Southwest, and it is just bright sunshine. It's going to be a hot one. We're definitely in summer now. It's reaching 100 degrees. Probably a little bit over 100 degrees. I think today it's supposed to be 101, 103, something like that. And this is just the beginning of our summer. Last summer it reached where we live, I think the highest I remember it being was 117. That's just insane. That's insane. I mean, you can't live in a travel trailer in that kind of weather. So here very soon we are going to be moving. And I know I keep saying that, but we're trying to get some... My dog. Are you okay? We're trying to get some things squared away so that we can be completely prepared and ready to move. So, I'm just so excited. I cannot wait to go back to normal living. This was an experience, but one I'll never do again. So, anyway, with that being said, we are going to read some of our book today. The Way of the Warrior. And our last portion that we read was astonishing. I learned that if you have high electrical currents in your body, you can literally stop the watch on your wrist. I did not know that. You can set off the alarm at the airport and during going through security if you have high electrical currents running through your body. So, of course, I began to widely research and discovered that although it's rare, there are a handful of people around the world who cannot wear watches because every watch they try dies. This phenomenon, as weird as it sounds, is due to the high electrical currents in some people's bodies. Depending on the level of electrical currents in your body, or if you have been exposed to high volumes of electricity, you can literally interfere with the inner workings inside your watch. It sounds kind of insane that one of the top 5 reasons for why a watch has stopped is that certain human beings emit high electrical currents. That blew me away. I never knew that. So anyway, today we're going to read about Albert Einstein, and hopefully I can pronounce these words right. The title of this new portion in our book is called E equals McManus squared. McManus is the author, ErwinRaphaelMcManus. And let's see. And then we'll probably right now we're reading about energies, but not the occult woo-woo energies. We're reading about the energy in our bodies, and just the fact that there is energy in the world. So anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get reading. So this portion, like I said, is called E equals McManus squared. So here we go. Probably the most popular and significant contribution that Albert Einstein made to modern science is his formula E equals mc squared. Einstein's theory of special relativity states that the increase of the relativistic I can't read these words. Relativistic mass of a body comes from the energy of motion of the body, which is kinetic energy, E, divided by the speed of light squared, C2. Basically, he explained the relationship between mass and energy. Energy equals mass multiplied by the speed of light squared. Did you get that? In practical terms, the less energy, the more solid mass. The more energy, the more fluid and dynamic the mass. In other words, a rock creates less energy than a river. For our purpose, an apathetic person has less energy than a person filled with passion. Wood has the potential of energy. Fire activates the energy within the wood. I have also just seen E equals mc squared as an abbreviation for Erwin McManus. But what Einstein came to understand about the universe has as much significance for our personal lives as it does for an understanding of reality. Humans once understood mass and energy as two different things. It would have been seen as superstition to understand that the material that makes a ship is of the same essence as the material that makes the ocean. In many ways, science is now more unbelievable than magic was 3,000 years ago. This is captured in the idea that energy equals the sum total of mass in relationship to the speed of light in a vacuum. Or, to summarize, energy and matter are two different forms of the same thing. It seems like magic that energy and matter are two different forms of the same thing, but science is sometimes stranger than fiction. The way my simple mind translates all of this is by realizing that coal is made of the same material as fire. Coal simply is less motivated, or to be more specific, less energized. It also means that although we know that energy cannot be destroyed or created, it can be released or contained. So the potential of an object in stasis may be far more dynamic than it appears if the proper heat is applied. For instance, coal contains within it tremendous energy for heated power, and that actually turns into thermal energy when it is set on fire. What I want to share with you next may seem figurative, but it is actually more literal than you may know. You are born a piece of coal. You must become a fire. This is part of the warrior's journey. To find the fire that burns within you is central to the way of the warrior. I see the contrast every day, not only here in Los Angeles, but also as I travel around the world. I meet people from every walk of life who seem to have endless energy for what they do. Their chosen fields are often as varied and unexpected as humanly possible. Some are doctors, some architects, some painters, some dancers. Others are chefs or baristas or teachers or researchers. Although their professions may have nothing in common, their labors have this one thing in common. They have endless energy for what they are doing. Their energy materializes itself in hard work, determination, resilience, excellence, and passion. Surprisingly, the same passion that they demonstrate at work affects every aspect of their lives. Sometimes their passion is all-consuming. They love their work and neglect their relationships. They are driven to create great art and seem to have no interest in creating great wealth. Some of the greatest works this world has ever seen were created by individuals with all-consuming passion. There are others who carry the same level of intensity, who express the same level of passion, but the passion is not isolated to a singular focus, but to life itself. These people are passionate about their work and passionate about their family and passionate about experiencing the beauty and wonder of life. They too bring an endless energy to everything they do, but their energy is less focused on what they do than on who they are. They have found the secret to being fully alive. They have also learned that energy expended must be also renewed. They have discovered the importance of caring for their private worlds and have recognized that their true strength comes from within. They know that to release more energy than they receive is a dangerous thing. The warrior knows that they are not the ultimate source of their own strength. They know that the fire within them can go out if it is not cared for properly. But we are designed to live with passion. There is a default mode we can surrender to where we simply just exist. Paralyzed by apathy or despair or discouragement, it may seem as if fear is the fuel to the fire, but in the end, all it does is diminish it. Fear consumes our energy, whereas faith restores it. When you live by faith, you find energy to live your life at full strength. The warrior also knows that the fire within them can become a destructive force. The fire within can be stoked with the wrong wood when we are consumed with anger and envy, bitterness, jealousy, or hatred. The fire destroys not only our own souls, but the lives of those who come within the range of our flames. The warrior knows the danger of this fire and understands that it can be consumed only by a greater fire. When Jesus tells us that the most important commands from God are to love him with all of our hearts, souls, minds, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves, they are mandates to know God as the all-consuming fire that burns within our souls. Few people here in Los Angeles have accomplished as much as my friend Mark Burnett. I once asked him what the number one characteristic is that he looks for when hiring key staff members. Without hesitation, he answered, energy. It shouldn't have surprised me because Mark is one of the most energetic people I have ever known. It is not an exaggeration to say that when Mark Burnett is in the room, it is electric. It's funny to recall the first time I ever met him. I had just spoken at a conference, and as I walked off the stage, he said to me, "You have so much energy." Not knowing him better, I take that as his greatest compliment. This is no cliche. This is with a genuine observation from a person whose own energy I deeply admire. When you see a small child who is out of control, you might describe them as being full of energy. Certainly as a parent, I have seen that different children have different levels of energy. Some of this is clearly genetic, yet a great aspect of our energy is connected to how we approach life and whether we have found a life that energizes us. I want to be perfectly transparent. I don't always have endless energy. In fact, even as I write these words, I feel an exhaustion that has drilled its way to the core of my bones. Get my highlighter, because I'm reading some things that I know I'm going to highlight. I am really tired. Not Olympic athlete kind of tired, but that kind of weariness of the soul that makes you feel as if you're drowning in a black hole of exhaustion. Have you ever been there? I'm there now. It is one thing to revel in a moment in which you have boundless energy, but that is not the measure of your strength. The warrior knows their strength only when standing in their weakness. That is why it's critical to assess the things in your life bring you energy and what steals it away. Our need for energy in order for us to live at an optimal level has become a common part of our everyday language. Every morning, millions of people wake up with one goal: to get that first cup of coffee that will give them the strength to get their second cup of coffee. And while coffee may work well with your addiction, it is much more than that. Coffee, at its essence, is concentrated energy classified as caffeine. Side note, fun fact, caffeine does not affect me at all. If I drink too much caffeine, I will feel a jitterness inside, but it doesn't give me energy. And it doesn't necessarily make me not be able to fall asleep if I have a cup of coffee at like 8 p.m. So coffee doesn't affect me like it affects some other people. The orange juice you drank is energy. In fact, everything you consume is energy. Today we have an entire industry developed around the convenient consumption of energy. We have energy drinks and energy bars and even energy coaches. We have all learned the hard lesson that a child must never be given unfettered access to candy. Sugar is pure energy. We've also come to understand the relationship of energy to our physical health. If you consume more energy than you expend, your body begins to store that energy as fat. Over the past few years, an endless number of programs and strategies have emerged for weight loss. Yet, there's one simple formula that will always remain true. If you expend more energy than you consume, you will lose weight. If you consume more energy than you expend, you will gain weight. You are both a conduit of energy and a container of energy. And as perplexing as it may seem, even if you have chosen a life of lethargy, you are still at the core a ball of energy. So how can it be that we are energy and can live unenergized lives? Have you ever tried to start a fire with wet wood or wet coals? Yes. The material that would normally burn easily and brightly loses its capacity to produce heat and create fire. There are conditions of the human spirit that steal us not only from our energy, but our passion and desire to live life fully. The warrior knows that the type of fuel that feeds their soul affects the fire that burns within them. Sometimes the fire is diminished and sometimes it is misdirected. The warrior chooses the right fuel for their fire. The warrior knows that their heart is the furnace. The warrior knows that their passion is the source of their strength. The warrior knows this one truth. If they lose their fire, they lose their strength. Nothing will steal our strength like living lives we do not love. To pursue what we love is to be energized for life. If we cannot find the energy to live, we have not found love worth living for. Warriors have found boundless energy, for they have found boundless love. There is a direct relationship between what we are doing and the energy we have to do it. Everyone has an energy grid. The way we store energy is through our desires, values, passions, hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And ultimately, our greatest capacity for energy storage is through what we love. And I'm going to stop there. That was a good portion of what we just read. There's so many things that I want to highlight, and I almost highlighted them as we went, but I didn't want to disrupt the reading. What he's saying is so true, and he's teaching me and making me really reflect on my own life, and I hope this book is doing the same for you. I automatically go to my situation of living in this travel trailer and feeling basically stuck right now in this phase of my life where I'm very limited on what I can do. And when he says you must love your life, I gotta be honest with you right now, I do not love my life. And I feel it. My energy is so low. I keep calling it autistic burnout because it has all the markings of autistic burnout, because it started about 3 or 4 years ago. It was really, really bad in the beginning. It's feeling like it's tapering, but it's still there. But now I'm starting to wonder if it's because of the life that I have created for myself up to this moment in the past few years has not been the right fuel for my fire. Meaning, we thought that buying this travel trailer and living in it and experiencing living in a travel trailer would be exciting. It would be different. It would be a way to minimize our possessions, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about minimizing our possessions. I don't think we should own a whole bunch of stuff. Even the Bible tells us, don't store up your treasures here on earth, store them in heaven where they won't get stolen or moth-eaten. And, we don't want to be so consumed with material things down here on earth. We want to be consumed with God. So I understand that part. I get that part. I don't mind having minimal possessions. For me, though, I'm having a really difficult time not having space and room to move around. And basically, my husband and I are living on top of each other when we're both here. And I'm limited on what I can do as far as taking care of the house. I don't really have much of a kitchen. So my husband does all the cooking on the grill. So that's out for me. All of the things that I enjoy have kind of been taken away or limited by living in this trailer. So what I'm trying to say, though, is I have some thinking to do as far as what kind of life to create in order to love life. And he's so right when he says in this read, what was I going to highlight? He says he's tired. He says he feels an exhaustion that has drilled its way to the core of his bones. I'm there. I don't know about you. I don't know where you are in your life, but I'm there right now. I get how he feels. There are times where I can't even make a video for my channel because my brain doesn't want to work. It was happening over the weekend when I stayed at my son's house. I could not get my brain to function properly to make a video. I ended our Bible study for the book of Revelation, and it feels like it was a blur. My mind goes through these phases where I'm just so overwhelmed, but so tired that I barely remember the experience. And so things will be changing. Things will be changing. We have decided to leave this travel trailer and to go back to a normal home. And I am truly hoping that when that happens, I can start, and people say it doesn't matter where you live, your troubles are going to follow you everywhere you go. That's true. But what we're talking about here is creating a life that we love. And I know that I can create a life that I love a lot better if we lived in a different environment. And so that's basically what I've been trying to say about how this book has affected me as far as what we just read. So drop comments. Somebody tell me how they're feeling about this book and how it's affecting you. If you are able to apply any of what you've been listening to your life, if it's giving you a reason to reflect on your own life, if this book is helping you at all, let me know. I keep asking somebody to make a comment to let me know their thoughts on the book, the author, how he writes, because like I said, after we're done with this book, I'm gonna just go get another book that he wrote and read that. So that will be our next book read. I'm gonna stick with this author because I find him to be a good author. So, and I can tell also that being able to sleep all night long, there's a little gnat. We have this problem right now. I don't know what is going on, but I even checked my dog for fleas. He does not have fleas, and I keep this house immaculately clean. So there's no reason why we should have any type of little gnat issue. And there's no fruit in the house, so they're not fruit flies. I don't know what is happening, but we're getting these little tiny gnats. It's not infested, but every once in a while they'll be flying around and I'm like, where did you come from? Why are you here? And so one is flying around right now and it's driving me crazy. But just getting a full night's sleep without waking up and getting that solid rest, I can tell makes a difference on my brain. Because when I don't sleep properly, my brain is just mush. And I can't afford to have that happen because I need all the help I can get with my brain. So, but anyway, with all that being said, I'll let you go. I'm at 22 minutes. I try to keep them 15 minutes to a half hour long, my videos. And then I'm going to go turn the AC back on so I don't have to sit here and be hot anymore, because I don't turn on the AC when I make these videos because it's too loud. So anyway, let me know how you feel about this book. Let me know how you feel about this author. Let me know if this book is affecting your life at all. If you're able to reflect on this book. Somebody let me know. Give me some type of feedback because I'm so curious. I'm getting some views on these book reads. So drop a comment. Let me know what you think about them. So with that being said, I'll let you go. I'm going to go drink my coffee, turn on the AC, and start my day. Love you. Bye.